Hello humans, this is Random Wizard and welcome to the Random channel. Today we're going to be playing Medieval Fantasy Rogue's Choice Chapter 19 and Ambitious Deception. Today is a day 7 of Nonut November. It's not going well, I can tell you that much. But I still am trying to be productive as much as possible without being distracted. My mental health is taking some hits. I will make a video about it later in the month, not just yet, but whatever. Let's begin by Sam Landstrom as usual. I don't really remember much. It's been a while since I recorded last time. The goal is to make your way to the Temple of Eternal Love. Although, we got into the underground tunnel of the goblins and we found Azazel. That's what I remember last. Leave him, my slave, says Azazel, soothingly to the fiendish knight. I know this one. Obediently, the knight halts his attack and shifts back into a defensive position, his dark blade at the ready. Ah, there's that demon voice again, says Egra, her voice casual. Do something, you say. You feared this she-demon is our last encounter, yet now you are unconcerned. Sheathe your sword, Rooster, says Azazel, scowling at your glowing blade. Him first, you say, nodding towards the knight. She nods at the fiendish knight. Slowly, reluctantly, the knight sheathes his sword. You do the same. From the ground near her feet, Azazel picks up a familiar bullwhip along with a carved knife. She stores the knife in a hatchel hanging from her hip and begins absently coiling her whip while grinning at you, looking you up and down. You often talk when you're nervous. It helps you release your stress, and you certainly have had plenty of stress as of late. Do you like what you see? That's some interesting art you've drawn there. Well, this is a happy surprise. I will take you any day over a lich. Yes, I'm still alive, no thanks to you. I think I'm gonna I'm interested in, I like all three of the first options. You like what you see? I do like that one, considering she's a succubus. Probably a good one. The runes is also pretty good, and the lich is also pretty good, but that sort of like demeaning, I guess, I suppose, to some extent. I think I'm just gonna go with the what a succubus would probably like to hear, I suppose. Do you like what you see? Favor increases 1. Do you like what you see? You say, bouncing your eyebrows. I love the fact that he bounces his eyebrows. A smile forms as she continues to look you up and down. The smile turns into laughter. She's laughing rather hard, says Egra, chuckling. Is this difficult for you? My father likes it. The fiendish knight joins in on the laughter, really laying into it. Really? I mean, if I was in Brewster's place, I would just go like, really? Am I that bad looking? Fucking hell. You wonder if now might be a good time to attack. Just as your hand begins to move towards the hilt of your sword, Azazel abruptly gets hold of herself and the knight follows her lead. Azazel points a long-nailed finger at you. Behold this man, she laughs. A woman's knight's... Oh, because he's wearing that weird shit. I forgot about that. A woman's night shirt, a massive trouser, and stink of blood and wine. Pathetic, says the fiendish knight. Headless. He would look no worse. Give the commands, and I will make it so. Oh, Dremorous tears. I think I'm actually beginning to like him, she says. You look down over your own ridiculous clothes. It has been a long night, you say, and I fear there is much more to come. Well, there is an alternative, she says, nodding at the knight. Right, you say. A long night ahead and many more days and nights beyond are just what I crave. She waves a hand dismissively. We shall see. Oh, that's interesting. You have already met my slave, she says, pointing at the knight. I call him Jackal, but you shall call him Baron because he's of noble birth and you certainly are not. You bow and he snarls in response, making you flinch back. He opens his visor to reveal the face of a dog covered in sores. Again you startle and let out a little yip. Egra chuckles. Do not be afraid. You have seen far worse, my champion. It was unexpected, you say defensively. Obviously noticing your reaction, Azazel frowns. No, the Baron is no longer as handsome as he once was, yet his ferocity and skill are greater than ever, as he has demonstrated to me already, you say, bowing with indifference to the fiendish dog knight. The low rumbling sound that shakes the floor and walls. You look up to see dust falling from the ceiling. Goblins, says Azazel, rolling her eyes. Or Darwin explosives, you wonder. You decide to keep this thought to yourself. It seems unlikely the succubi and dwarves are friends. What brings you here, you rooster? Says Azazel, cocking her head. What do you say? I think it's pointless to round about this whole thing. I'm just gonna go with I seek the Nadstrat district. I see the Nadstrat district, you say. Oh, she says. That wouldn't have anything to do with the Temple of Eternal Love, would it? No, you say quickly. I merely wish to aid some friends. Friends? Anyone I would know? Asks Azazel, her voice innocent, but the hardness in her voice are anything but. Jackal clutches his sword hilt as though in anticipation. You decide you had better answer her. Mermaids in the river. Bonebrow, captain of the guard. Mermaids in the river, maybe? I don't know if I want to tell her witches. That's kind of weird. Yeah, no. Mermaids wouldn't really want help, though. I don't know about that. Bonebrow. I'm just gonna go with witches. I don't know. Witches, you say. What witches? Says Zazel in a commanding voice. Drala and Kalak, you blurt out. Life increases 1. Favor increases 2. Kalak, shouts Zazel, lashing out. Her whip wraps around your ankle. She yanks back. You fall hard on your backside. In an instant, Jackal is above you, his evil blade pressing down into your chest, burning your flesh as it saps your strength. I beg you to allow me to finish him, mistress, says Jackal. Not yet, says Zazel. Rooster, how do you know Kalak? We met in the castle, then met near Fortress Eggrain. Just coincidences, not really a friend, more an acquaintance. You stammer out. You call Kalak a witch? Asks Zazel. Oops. Oh, right, because everyone thinks he's a man. Oops, did you forget that the witch's gender was not widely known as Agra? Did I say that? Drala is the witch. You whisper, your energy becoming faint from the dark-sucking blade. I thought it good to call them both by the female sex to show you a woman also respect. What the fuck does that even mean? I thought it good. First of all, what the hell is that? It good to call them both by the female sex to show you a woman also respect. I don't get that. Whatever. Azazel is silent for a moment and then laughs. What nonsense. With a flick of her wrist, she releases a whip from your ankles. Nonsense and stupidity, yet you continue to entertain. Baron, do you remember that fool you kept at the court? Rooster, remind me of him. Wait, what? What? Baron, do you remember that fool you kept at the court? What court? Rooster, remind me of him. Rooster reminds me of him. Okay. She is talking to him. He is nothing like a boot-faced McGee. Really? Boot-faced McGee? Growls Jackal, keeping his blade pressed onto you. Oh, champion, it is an accomplishment to amuse a demon without loss of limbs, says Egra. My father and I rather enjoy your stupid lies too. Let me guess, you told these witches about Nuxia, says Hazel last. With a dog knight standing over you, drooling on you, waiting for an excuse to put you to death, you tell the truth in a manner of speaking. Yes, let him up, she commands. Reluctantly, Jackal pulls his blade away, lets you stand. I mean, if he was pressing his blade into our chest, wouldn't that like pierce us? How was he like holding us down with his blade without like damaging our character? I guess he just pulled out his entire sheath along with the fucking blade and just pressed down with the sheath. But they said blade, so that's kind of weird. Is it a dull blade? That would be even weirder. Whatever. I suppose if I truly wanted you to keep Anux's whereabouts a secret, I would have ensured your death. Says Zazel, shrugging. Now the damage is done, although perhaps it can be to my advantage. Right, maybe you can find them and follow them, you say, trying to be helpful. And Jackal and his dark blade shakes her head. Doubtful, but I'm sure your witches will act as a fine distraction for Nuxius. Right, Nuxius and Azazel obviously know each other. Right, you say quickly. It seems fortune always favors you, Azazel. I have not time for you to lick between my toes just now, Rooster. I also have not the time to ask how you made such famous acquaintances. That suits me, you say. For now, I simply wish to flee before the castle is overrun. Naturally, Jackal and I were on our way out of the castle as well, says Zazel. This tunnel of shame is supposed to be a well-guarded secret. She raises her eyebrows at you. I did a favor for some dwarves and you shrug. You realize you were not supposed to mention the dwarves giving the secret of the tunnel. It's just that she's so beautiful and terrifying that you find yourself speaking when you're not supposed to. Dwarves, she scowls, looking over at Jackal. Greedy, fat, and filthy. Oh, and so much boasting about their beards, as though growing hair on one's face is a heroic feat. And tedious grumbling about elves joins in Jackal. He then bows his head as though afraid he has spoken out of turn. Azazel ignores Jackal as she hunches down and does a sort of exaggerated jig walk. Hey, Mayor, beard grow long and your axe stay sharp. So says me to me, hairy arsed kinfolk. She bellows mockingly. That's actually funny. Very good impression, mistress, says Jackal with a serious nod. Yar, I pound holes in rocks to hump 'em proper. You declare in a deep voice. I have to continue the joke. My character is a fucking rogue, so you know. Azazel glares at you and Jackal lets out a low growl, making you stand up straight, clear your throat. They did not actually say that. You mutter under your breath. How easily you sell out your new dwarf strength, says Egra, laughing. I got caught up in the moment, you say. I really wanted to impress the succubus, says Egra. Shouldn't we be hiding, you say. I do not fear detection. I change your scent permanently, says Egra. She will not suspect you were the dark elf she hunted. Wait, when did she? Oh, right, okay. Okay, so yeah, there was one moment when she was hunting the dark elf, whatever. Naturally, you'd be wondering what sort of scent you have now, whether it is an improvement, but you are distracted by Azazel staring at you with her beautiful, terrible eyes. In the silence, the rhythmic scratching you noted earlier is becoming louder. Azazel cocks her head, perhaps listening. If you don't mind, I would like to move along, you say as you point to past the pair of them. Azazel folds her arm and says, the exit from this tunnel is blocked by a mountain of rubble. It shall take some time to dig out, even for my strong slave. She frowns at the dead knight near her feet. I appear to be a bit short on labor. Maybe your fat little friends could be of service. Yes, maybe, you say, is taking a step back. I'll go find the dwarves and be back in 2 shakes of a goat's tail. No, you will stay here with us, she says in a friendly tone that gives you goosebumps. Jackal takes a swift and halting step forward. You have seen how quickly the fiendish knight can move. It is unclear whether you can outrun him. It's even less likely you could escape Azazel if she chose to fly. In here? Isn't this like a very closed off area? Hoping to keep Azazel speaking rather than killing, you say, why don't you just teleport out? I saw you use some sort of gate before. Teleporting is difficult, says Azazel, mostly to herself. Wards have been raised. Raised by whom? You ask. You are not supposed to. You're just asking questions for no purpose, says Azazel, calling her whip. What do you do with this information? I operate best when informed, you say. Jackal laughs in your mind. I will help you find a purpose for him, mistress, says Jackal, pleading in his voice. The wound I deliver him shall bleed out slow, so that you can harvest his soul thoroughly, if it pleases you, of course. A simple and practical proposal, says Azazel, rubbing her chin thoughtfully. You put your hand on the hilt of your sword. Violence is not the answer. Azazel and Jackal laugh. What a hilarious thing to say to a demon, says Egra, and she joins in on the laughter. You're feeling very outnumbered and alone. A boom. Dust falls in a torrent from the ceiling. There's a crash from behind. Spin around to see smoke billowing out of a large hole in the tunnel. There are high-pitched shouts and screeching coming from inside the hole. It sounds like goblins. Jack closes his visor and unsheathes his sword, advances towards the hole. You turn back to see several goblins leaping out of the hole, armed with loaded crossbows. With Azazel close by, you'd rather not use any of your trickster powers. Few options come to mind. Join Jackal with your sword. I think I'm gonna use my bow because I don't know if he will cooperate with us. If he, I don't know if a defensive stance is a good idea. Yes, let's use a bow. Morale increases 1. You unsling your bow. 2 goblins fire their crossbow at Jackal, both striking and deflecting off his plate mail, making dull clanking noises. Leaning to the side to get a clear shot around Jackal, you draw your bow and fire into a cluster, thickest cluster of goblins, throwing the arrow into the chest of one of the crossbow-armed goblins. Feathered you good, you whisper as you notch your next arrow. You spot the glint of a bolt tip as one of the goblins swing his crossbow in your direction. You dodge to the side, crouch behind a pillar nearby. Nearby tunnel pillar. The bolt cracks against the pillar. There's a dull clank as another bolt ricochets off of Jackal's armor. Now Jackal is taking up a great deal of the tunnel and is too close to the goblins for you to safely fire upon them. The last thing you need is to anger that fiendish dog knight. You sling your bow and draw your sword, which bursts into holy flames. The more goblins spring out of the hole, but now Jackal is there, wading through the small humanoids, butchering them. Baron, to me, commands Azazel. Jackal swiftly retreats back near his mistress, shielding her with his own body. Azazel seems to have a magical shield of her own based on the flickering you see near her as one crossbow bolt deflects away. The deep snarl as a warg leaps out of the hole, upon which is mounted a spear-wielding goblin. Favorite increases 3, life increases 4. Feel a warmth within as divine power drains out of you. This must be Agra's doing, although she is not one for healing. Azazel shouts something in. Yeah, that's why 3 favor only got us 4 life. It should have gotten more. I think 1 favor is equal to 4 life normally, but it should be at least. But she is not the type of healing god, so obviously she is not that effective. Azazel shouts something in a language you don't understand, yet there are strength to those words. The warg, which has appeared set on attack, suddenly halts, baring his teeth. More goblins emerge from the hole around the warg. These armed with short swords and spears. Succubus spreads her wings and shouts another few strange words. She does not know the goblin tongue very well, says Egra. What she's saying, you say. The goblins seem to be wondering the same thing because several of them cock their head quizzically. Only one shouts something back into the hole. 10 seconds go by as the goblins chatter in low voices, staring at you, Azazel and Jackal as they wait. One goblin with a bow notches an arrow but does not draw. Meanwhile, Azazel and Jackal are huddled near each other, speaking with hurried whispers in their own language, sounding like angry serpents. Did you heal me? You ask. Aggro doesn't answer. Feel free to heal your handsome champion more often, you say.